Hey, I'm Avril Lavigne, and you're watching Toasted.
Okay, let's start. You have your third album coming out. You released your first album when you were 17. Do you feel like you've been growing up in public in a way?
Definitely, I feel like my life's been documented, and everyone's got to, see me grow and change, all on cameras.
What does that feel like?
It's kind of weird. It's kind of cool for me because, I get to look back and it's all there. Go on YouTube, see anything especially on the internet.
How do you feel you've changed?
That's the big question that everyone keeps asking me, and I have to dissect myself. I feel like when I first came out when I was 17, I was very young, and I was a kid, and I was quite the little tomboy, I guess. Now I've kind of just grown out of that a bit. I'm older. People keep talking about how sometimes I'm more feminine, I guess. I don't know. I'm totally a different person, but I'm not.
Well, when I listen to your album, it strikes me that you did manage to hold on to that cheerfulness, and it's sort of what's so appealing about that?
I like to write catchy music. I like pop music. I like anything people can sing along to, and I like rock and roll, and so I consider my music to be pop rock or whatever. I like to have fun with my music, and that's definitely what I did on this record all the way through it, besides, the odd ballad on this record.
There's a track on your album called Innocence.
Yeah.
Do you feel it's hard to hold on to your innocence when you're in this business?
Ooh, that's a deep one. I think, and that's kind of the beauty about being young sometimes is, and when I look back at my first record, I was like number one. I sold like 15 million records. I had 3 number one singles around the world, and I was just so innocent at that time, and I didn't know anything, and I was like, oh cool, oh cool, oh cool. This is great. This is really fun, and like not knowing how crazy that was. I knew it was crazy, but like now, like looking back, it was like what happened to me was so like really cool and special. But back to the song Innocence. That's one of my favorite ones on this record because this whole record is so up and really fast and aggressive, and then I have, the odd ballad, and I like this ballad because it's really stripped down and raw, and it shows a different side. Toasted.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second, please.
Another ballad is When You're Gone. I saw the video, and it features a soldier going off to war. Mm-hmm. To what extent should we see that as a political statement?
I feel like this song, When You're Gone, is very universal, and it can mean so many different things. So when it came to the video, I wanted to have different stories, because this song could be about losing someone. It is, or just, having to go away on very long trips and missing someone, or, breaking up or whatever. So I thought, I don't know, I don't really think the video is that political, but I just wanted it to have a universal message.
On this album, you've also worked with your husband, singer of Sum 41. What was that like to work with your spouse? Because that must be very difficult in some ways.
It was great. He produced 2 songs, and Deryck was in the studio with his band Sum 41 while I was doing my record. So it's cool just to have him be part of it.
You've also been doing some acting. You want to do more of that in the future?
Yeah, I worked on Over the Hedge, which was an animated film, and I was in Fast Food Nation. They were both small parts. Fun, and I'd love to do more.
I'd like to hear more about how you write. How does that work?
The writing process for me is usually I don't think ahead of time what the song's going to be about. It just kind of happens. Typically, before I went into the studio with this record, I had a vision for the record, and I was like, this record's going to be really fun, really playful. I did not want it to be dark, so I stayed away from when the lyrics were starting to go darker. I was like, no, 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 and like I didn't want a bunch of mid-tempos. So, but writing for me is just usually sitting down. I co-write, and I'll have someone with the guitar, or I'll have the guitar, and come up with a bunch of melodies, and then lyrics usually just are quick. Some stuff is personal and some stuff isn't, like Girlfriend, for instance, the single. It was just one of those songs I just started singing, like, I don't like a girlfriend, think you need a new one, and thought it was funny. So Luke and I wrote just about a story about, wanting the boyfriend, and it didn't mean anything to me at that time. But that's kind of what I like about this record, too, is that some of this record is just like everything. I have a song called Everything Back But You, and it's just kind of like made up, and it's just stories. And then, like, some of the songs are more personal, like actually more meaningful to me. Ready?
No. When you're in the studio, would you consider yourself a control freak?
Yes, I get involved with picking the producers. I picked my producers, I picked the mixers, I picked the mixes, the players, and sometimes I would record a song and not be happy with the recording and go back to my producer and be like, we have to redo this a different way. So, it is my record, and that's why I'm so proud of it. The people I worked with, like, they all became my friends, and, Butch Walker is a really good friend of mine, and we wrote, a lot of songs together on this one, and Dr. Luke, he was brand new, and then Deryck was on it, so.
Can you remember the moment where you decided, this is what I want to do in my life, be a musician, a singer?
Yeah, ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to sing, and it started probably when I was about 7. My parents really believed in me and saw that I had something and got really involved, and like my mom kept bugging everyone to let me sing. Like, my daughter can sing, she can sing, you have to let her sing. And then finally I got to sing, and once I sang once on stage by myself, then everyone started asking me to sing everywhere, and then that was the beginning.
What was your biggest struggle in your career thus far?
No, I don't feel like there's really been any struggles. I think once you become, I guess, famous and the world knows you, people talk about you, and once you become really popular, you have like people who don't like you and people who love you. And especially when you're someone like me who has a very particular image, I have a strong vibe, and I'm a certain style, and I guess the only thing is when I was younger, having to deal with, why don't people like me? I didn't do anything to them. That would have been the struggle, I guess, if anything. But that is just how it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I always just focus on the positive side, and the positive side is a very large side. So
did you feel people didn't take you seriously, or?
Well, I think because I was so popular when I came out, there was a lot of people who were like, oh, she's fake and she's not real, and that to me was weird, because I felt like I am the one who's real. If anyone would have told me how to be, they would have said, dress nicer, talk better, like don't swear, like be, you know what I mean? They would have turned me into someone nicer, like, I don't know, a Hillary Duff or something. I think, I'm not dissing her in any way, but someone more like that, I think. And I was just very myself and different from everyone, and so to hear people say that I was fake, I was like, no, I'm not. I'm like the most real thing ever. I'm like myself. So, but that was, when I was younger, it was weird, and then I just learned that it really doesn't matter, because once you get to a certain level, people just talk about you, and they say things, and there's that, it's more positive than negative.